Hey guys, today's story is about a murder hobo. 1 year ago, after my friends and I were introduced to D&D with the group's only experienced DM, she invited me to DM a couple of sessions, since she wanted to play too. I happily agreed and got to work. I drew them a map, wrote some outlines, and even homebrewed a couple of enemies, which was basically just me reskinning Monster Manual monsters with little edits here or there. Now, for this campaign, we had added a friend who hadn't played the previous sessions, and he chose to be a Dragonborn Paladin, but wanted to be chaotic evil. Not knowing what a bad idea evil characters are in an otherwise neutral and good party, I agreed and kind of helped him make a sort of dark paladin, with loyalty to some horrible aberration of a god. This was my first mistake. The rest of the party was level 3 or 4, so I just made him level 3 as well, and we'll be referring to this guy as Wilbur. So we kicked it off with them arriving at a town attached to a prominent abbey, which handled pretty much all of the governance for the town. The monk guards took close note of their entry, as they were bearing a VIP invite to the village's upcoming spring festival. The party's mission was to steal a book from the abbey's maze-like library and get it to their employer, who was a duke. The other 3 members of the party opt to ask around town for information about the monks and the festival, but Wilbur immediately split off, and I let him, which was my second mistake. Wilbur walked right up to the monks at the town chapel and started asking about the library and their most valuable books, and then followed it up by asking them about their religion. They were obviously sketched out and didn't let him in, and at this point, I could see that he was getting frustrated with me, so he then decided that he needed a safe house of sorts and that an inn will not do. So Wilbur decided to break into a house and murder whoever was in there. I tried to dissuade him by describing a lovely old couple talking about their grandnephew over tea, but he persisted, and again, I let him kill them, figuring it was better if he faced consequences than shutting him down, and this was my third mistake. A few in-game hours later, the murder was noticed and the guards were on high alert. Suspicion obviously fell on the newcomers to town, and Wilbur was confronted by 4 guards. But instead of talking, he tried to take on the 4 of them while the rest of the party was elsewhere. He used his breath weapon, which did a fair amount of damage, but the guards managed to seize him anyway. The other players were a little irked now, since their cover was basically blown and the guards were searching for them. And now they had to stage a jailbreak, which was at least exciting. Wilbur was sulking and huffing and puffing as the party was playing while he was jailed. He was getting snippy with me and the other players, and the session ended as the rest of the party successfully broke into the monastery to free him, with us running out of time. And it was pretty clear right then that nobody liked the session that much, and I was bummed out. Wilbur confronted me afterwards, and I told him I can't simply let random killings go without consequences, and he said, fine, but accused me of making the guards too tough. I told him that they were straight from the Monster Manual, and that generally a 4v1 goes poorly, and he's still insisting that I should have let him mow down some weak guards. Because he was breathing lightning. How could that not kill them all? To which I told him, look, if a level 3 rando could just walk into a town and mow down some guards, there wouldn't be much of a point in having guards at all. This isn't about you living out a power fantasy. Besides, you can't be out there causing mayhem while the rest of the party is trying to engage with the story. It won't work. He replied with, that's the point of the game. If you were a better DM, you could have let me do what I want and still have the story work. To which I said, yeah, I guess I'm new, and walked away. And I have to give it to him. I was a bad DM. And it was definitely because I let him do things that ruined the experience for others. Needless to say though, Wilbur wasn't invited to do D&D again. We restarted the story with the rest of the group, and we ended up having a pretty good time. And that small campaign morphed into a long-term one, which is still ongoing, and I ended up learning a fair bit about problem players, and what not to do, just from that guy. Well guys, with some people, if you give them an inch, they're going to want the whole bloody mile. But hey, at least the OP and his group were able to have some fun and redo the campaign with no real hard feelings. Additionally, the OP has the map that they made for this little town, and I've said that if you want to use it in an adventure yourself, you're free to do so. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description, so if you like what you see, you can use it yourself. But that's the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a good one.